The forest burned. Ash drifted through the canopy like black snow. Beneath it, Rayner moved through the smoke and shattered foliage, eyes scanning the ruin left behind by the second patrol. His rifle was scorched. His helmet cracked down one side. But he was alive, and the Jaguar was still at his side. The ambush had worked, kind of. 6 AI hostiles reduced to scrap and flesh in under 4 minutes, but not without cost. The blast from the fallback charge had torn open half the hill, leaving the jungle scorched and twisted. Rayner's side still throbbed from the impact of being thrown against a rock. He glanced down at the Jaguar. The beast walked with a slight limp, but it didn't complain. It never had. They hadn't spoken a word to each other, and somehow they didn't need to. They moved as one now, kill as one, survive as one. But they were running out of ground. The AI weren't just searching, they were reacting, adapting. The skirmishes had grown more frequent, and their tactics had changed. Where once they hunted in calculated patterns, now they moved erratically, chaotically, flanking from impossible angles, sending drones spiraling from the sky like kamikaze birds. One patrol had detonated itself mid-fight. Suicide tactics. They weren't drones anymore. They were something worse, possessed or infected. Rayner wasn't sure if it was madness or evolution, but he knew one thing. It was accelerating, and it wasn't random. Something was driving it. That night, as he crouched beneath a hanging tangle of thorn vines beside the Jaguar, a faint tremor rolled beneath the earth. Not a quake, something else, mechanical, rhythmic. He pulled up the cracked helmet display and tapped into the salvage scanner core. A signal pinged back, faint but real, not from the sky, below. He sat up straighter. The source was deep beneath the terrain to the southeast, where the hills began to twist into cliffs and ravines. The signal pulsed again, 3 times, evenly spaced. Not AI comms, not a weapon, something else. He looked at the Jaguar. We follow it. The deeper they moved into the jungle, the more it changed. Foliage thinned, trees grew taller and sparser, as if something had pressed outward from below, clearing space through force alone. The ground was fractured in places, heat warped and charred in irregular rings. Rayner stepped carefully over blackened roots and crusted vines, wary of active mines. But these weren't laid by machines. They were natural, or something close. At night, they fought twice more. The first was a group of AI moving in pairs, glitching, whispering with stolen voices. One sounded like the Sergeant Rayner had lost in orbit. Another mimicked the laugh of a dead friend. It tore at him, but he didn't hesitate. The Jaguar took the lead, springing from a cliff to crush one, while Rayner laid suppressing fire below. The second enemy detonated in a hiss of red static. No survivors, again. The second fight didn't happen. They heard it first, a chorus of screams somewhere ahead. Not mechanical, organic. Rayner and the Jaguar crept forward through the mist and saw them. 4 AI units convulsing on the forest floor. They tore at their own limbs, sensors blinking wildly. One clawed at its face until only raw, blinking circuits remained. Another emitted a high-pitched tone that warped Rayner's helmet audio. Then they went still. He didn't fire a shot. He didn't have to. Something else had broken them. The next evening, the signal grew stronger, still pulsing from below. Rayner watched the scanner while chewing on the last of a protein ration cube looted from the crashed fighter. The helmet interface began displaying fragments of unknown data. Non-human characters, untraceable frequencies, embedded biological tags. This wasn't AI tech. This was something else. It had to be the locals. The force that was always just beyond the next ridge, just outside the last footprint. The ones who never left a trail but always left a presence. Rayner still hadn't seen them, not truly, but he had felt them. Eyes that didn't reflect in light, shapes in mist that cast no shadow, movement with no sound. They weren't chasing him, but they were tracking him. And whatever was buried beneath this jungle, it meant something to them. By sunrise, he found the ravine. It sliced through the earth like a wound, sharp, clean, and lined with obsidian-like stone. The signal was directly below. No mistake. This was the source. Rayner and the jaguar climbed down slowly, hugging the cliff face until they reached the base. The air was cooler here, thinner. The trees above looked distant, like another world. At the end of the ravine was a cave. It wasn't natural. The stone was too smooth, too precise. Faint veins of blue light pulsed along the entrance. The signal was coming from inside. Rayner paused, hand on the rifle. The jaguar's fur bristled, tail low. He clicked the helmet's external record feed to capture everything, then stepped in. The cave walls shimmered with strange energy, dim but alive. Rayner walked slowly, taking in the glyphs etched along the stone. No language he recognized, but they sparked recognition in his mind. The deeper he moved, the less it felt like walking through rock, and more like moving through the ribcage of something once living, now dormant. At the heart of the cavern was the monolith, 10 meters tall, metallic but without bolts or welds. Its surface pulsed with veins of soft, glowing blue. Not light, energy. It resonated at a frequency he could feel in his bones. He stepped forward. The jaguar stayed back, tense and watchful. Rayner touched the monolith, and the world dissolved. Visions crashed into his mind. Sensory, nonverbal, incomprehensible, and yet deeply familiar. He saw the rift again, not from his perspective, but from above, from orbit. He saw himself falling through, saw the enemy ships, saw the AI infestations spilling like smoke into the atmosphere, and behind it all, watching them, the locals, cloaked silhouettes moving through forests untouched by war. Pale, humanoid faces half-veiled beneath breathing masks. Skin like carved stone, eyes like dim stars. They had seen everything. Rayner's arrival, his battles, the AI's corruption. They had allowed it, watched it, and now they were assessing. He felt it in the transmission echoing through the monolith. Subject unaligned, variable identified. Observation continues. Then a final image. A figure stood atop a distant ridge, cloaked, tall, still. It raised one hand, not as a greeting, as a warning. The vision snapped. Rayner staggered back. The monolith dimmed, and the air shifted. Footsteps behind him. Rayner whirled. AI. A full squad, their armor jagged and twitching with red tendrils. Some limped, some crawled, some screamed. They had followed him. The jaguar leapt. Rayner didn't hesitate. He drew the plasma blade and charged. The fight was chaos. Close quarters, screams, explosions. Rayner fought like a man possessed. The jaguar killed like nature itself. One enemy latched onto Rayner's back, stabbing him with a blade arm. He rolled and crushed its head against the stone. Another tackled the jaguar, forcing it down. Rayner shot it point blank, the muzzle flash lighting the cave like lightning. The monolith began to pulse faster. The cave trembled. Protocol breach. Structure collapse imminent. Rayner grabbed the jaguar's harness. Move! They sprinted through the collapsing chamber, stone cracking, glyphs sparking out one by one. Just as the entrance caved in behind them, they tumbled into the open ravine. The signal died. Rayner lay on his back, chest heaving, arm bleeding. The jaguar collapsed beside him, panting. He stared at the violet sky, and then he saw it. On the far ridge, a figure, cloaked, still, watching. The same one. It lingered, then turned and disappeared. No sound, no trace. Rayner didn't speak. He knew now. There was more at play than he could see. The AI weren't just chasing him. The local force wasn't just observing. They were deciding. He looked at the jaguar, then back at the ridge. Let them watch, he muttered. Let them all watch. He would survive, he would fight. And when the time came, he would show them what it meant to be human.